Hi everyone, welcome to Prevention Education, the podcast that teaches you everything about prevention. Thanks for listening, and let's get started.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another Prevention Education episode. As always, I'm your host, Kylie, and I'm a prevention project specialist for Preferred Family Healthcare Prevention in Kirksville, Missouri. And today I have Taylor with me. So Taylor, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Taylor Raymond. I am a Missouri Prevention Specialist with Preferred Family Healthcare in Kirksville, Missouri.
Yeah, we are
Oh,
so
yeah.
lucky to have Taylor on our team. She is a wonderful prevention specialist. So if you're in her community, like in her service area, lucky you, because you get to work with Taylor and ask her any questions you have. And she's just great with our coalition. So we are so happy to have her on our team. And we'll get into our question of the episode. And so today we're going to talk about our ideal vacation. So Taylor, what is your ideal vacation? Where would you go? What would you kind of do?
I would probably go to Hawaii. I really love the beach, but I also love the mountains, and the scenery there is just beautiful. Yeah, I just feel like anything around the sun and the ocean just like really cheers me up. So I would definitely just like wander around outside, eat a lot of like fresh produce, and just I'd be thriving.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Hawaii is definitely top on my list. I think I would go, taking into consideration too, like that I would have the funds for this. I would go to Greece, and I would
Oh,
go
yeah.
not to like Santorini, but to one of the smaller islands,
Mhm.
and just try to live like a local. I think that would be one of the coolest things. I don't know. And I just
That
feel
sounds
like
amazing.
it always looks so calm and pretty. So sounds very different than Missouri.
Oh, yes. It sounds like a great experience.
Exactly. Yeah. So if I go on a vacation soon, hopefully it'll be to Greece. We'll see. Awesome. Well, now that our listeners just know a little fun fact about us, we will get into our topic. And our topic today is, why is prevention important? And this is a topic that, if you know nothing about prevention, this is great. If you don't know anything, whether you know a lot or a little about prevention, this topic is really important, because prevention's in everyone's lives, whether we know it or not. So, Taylor, this is a loaded question, but why is prevention important? What's kind of like one of the main reasons why it's important?
I would say one of the biggest reasons it's important is it really helps find like the root cause behind certain behaviors and different things. Like we really take a lot of time to identify like risk factors and protective factors, and just being able to differentiate what kind of things put a youth, especially at risk of using substances. And so I feel like just yeah, I feel like it just helps kind of eliminate some issues before they could become a bigger problem, like knowing what the root cause is and being able to figure out where we can provide like education and resources and some intervention methods. It really helps just reduce some of those impacts that drug abuse has on individuals and their families. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was very well said. Just for our listeners that don't know, could you just give a super brief overview of what a risk and protective factor is?
Yeah, so a risk factor is a factor that is going to put somebody more at risk of developing like a substance use disorder, or even maybe a mental health challenge. So those could be things like trauma. That's a very, very big one. We talk a lot about ACEs. Just I know for like a lot of like children that I used to work with before stepping into prevention, a big risk factor for them was like having a parent who was incarcerated, or both parents incarcerated, or
Yeah.
even being in foster care. So those are different types of risk factors. And then a protective factor is just something that is going to reduce that risk. So having a loving, supportive family, like family who has good financial stability, maybe you're not in low poverty, you're going to school, you have family who cares for you and nurtures you, supports you. So those are good examples of protective factors.
Yeah. Yes. And everyone has risk and protective factors in their lives. And you can't, even if you try to escape risk factors, you can't. They're everywhere. So it's just really important to surround ourselves and especially youth in our community with those protective factors to either counteract or balance those risk factors or kind of outshine those risk factors.
Absolutely.
I think one question that a lot of people reach out and ask, like especially on our social media, is when they think of prevention, they just think about youth, and that is a huge target population in prevention. But what would you say when people ask, like, how can you use prevention to also target adults? Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah. So I feel like just being able to have that conversation with an adult's important. I know we talk a lot about youth prevention, especially because a lot of the substances we hit on are ones like alcohol and marijuana, and those are things that are legal if you're a certain age to use. And so it's a little more like gray area trying to provide that education with adults. But in any substance in general, I just feel like being able to have that uncomfortable conversation is very important. And just like letting them know that you're there to support them. I think sometimes as an adult, it's hard to feel like you have support because it seems like the norm to be able to engage in these behaviors. But in all reality, like there are a lot of people not engaging in these things. So I think just having like a toolkit set aside of like resources, like fun activities you can do, and just having like a supportive network and making sure like if you have a concerned adult in your life who might be using a substance, like just being there for them, letting them know you're there, and just always encouraging them to engage in sober activities with you, whether it's going out to the movies, a walk in the park, even board games. This time of year, I know sometimes it gets a little tough and people want to engage in like drinking, but like having like those options for mocktails and different things is also very important. And it's just, I think too, as an adult, well, I'm early into adulthood, but like starting to get into adulthood, just realizing like how easy it is to be able to engage in fun events without the substances, and realizing like it is more of a norm. And once you start like speaking up and you're that adult for somebody, or like you're that support for somebody, it makes them realize like how normal it is. So just being able to be the one who's can have that uncomfortable conversation and be the one to encourage people to try something sober,
Yeah,
I think
I
is
think,
important.
yeah, you said that flawlessly, like really great. Um, in the prevention world with adults, you don't need to go in with all of this knowledge. You just need to go in caring about someone and being willing to work through it with them, answer questions with them, and just be there for them, just care. And that makes a huge difference. That's prevention, is caring for someone. And like you don't need to do anything to do that, just send a
Yeah.
simple text or give them a call or just show up and hang out with them and encourage them to just engage in healthy habits, and that's prevention. Yeah, you said that so well. So with communities, how can parents show the importance of prevention to youth?
I would say getting involved. There's usually a lot of different coalition work and different things going on in the community. And even if it's not specifically a coalition, there's usually like you can get involved with like PTO and different things within the school and just show your youth that you are active. And it just really shows that you're in like somebody who's a leader and that they can look up to. And so I think that getting involved and getting like in front of the youth is really, really important, especially as a parent in the community. And so I think my biggest thing would just to encourage individuals to know what events are going on in their community, what organizations are going on there. And if there's none, it's never too late to start your own. It only takes one person to make a difference. And once you start making those decisions, a lot of people will tend to fall in line with you. So really, it'll drive your vision to become bigger. So I think just being familiar definitely with what your community has to offer. And if you're somebody who wants to take on that initiative and create an organization focused on that, I think it's very important to have role models in the community who are willing to do that.
Yeah. Yes. I agree 100%. It takes, to emphasize something that Taylor said, takes one person to make a difference, to go against the norm. And that person could start a tradition in their community where, like every year we, I don't know, go on a walk together on this day and just talk about the importance of staying healthy and choosing the right path, or just something really small could change a community, especially if it's a really small community. And we have a lot of those in our service areas. And so just one little thing could make a huge difference and could save one life. And that's our goal in prevention, is just saving one life means the world to us. Yeah. So then we talked about adult to adult prevention, parent to youth prevention. How would you kind of show peer to peer, so youth to youth? How can they spread prevention messages and show that it's important to talk about that?
Yeah. So youth to youth, I feel like this is a very important time too, because it's very easy to fall into peer pressure as a youth.
Yep.
So it's very important to, as a youth, recognize that you can be resilient. It is okay to say no, and that you do not owe an explanation or an answer to anybody when they try to encourage you to engage in a behavior you don't agree with. So I think peer to peer, just being able, if it's somebody you're comfortable with, just straight up telling them like, hey, this is not something I'm comfortable with. I don't want to engage in this behavior. And then taking it a step further and encouraging them not to do it. But if you're in an unsafe situation, I feel that it is important as a youth to recognize who your natural supports are. That way you can remove yourself from that situation and then go get your peer the help that they need. So if they're getting ready to engage in like drinking or even drinking and driving, if you have access to their keys, taking that from them, letting them know it's not to upset them. You're there, you're looking out for them, you care for them, you love them, and then going a step farther and calling either a parent, 911 if needed, just whatever. And again, it's about having that uncomfortable conversation. And as a youth, it's a lot more difficult, I think, because of peer pressure and the fear of not feeling included or being an outcast. But through the work that we've been doing and the research we've been doing, more than 50% of youth aren't engaging in using illicit substances. So I think that's important to note too, because sometimes we feel like maybe we're not a part of like the cool kids because we're not using, but in all reality we are, because there are more youth not using substances than there are. So I would definitely say just knowing your resources, being willing to advocate for yourself and your peers, and then being comfortable with finding a trusted adult if they're not willing to step back from that behavior, or if they're continuing to try to force it on you.
Yeah. Yes. Once again, so well said. Yeah. And when you're a teenager or even younger, younger than 12, peer pressure is huge. And so being the one to turn away and say, I actually am choosing not to do this because of this, this, and this. I like how you pointed out, in the moment, it might be, I feel like I'm the minority in this, and other people are using it a lot more, but the statistics show that you're not. You're actually in the group that is larger percentage-wise. And in the prevention world, even though it's greater than 50% that don't use, our goal is 100% that doesn't
Absolutely.
use substances. And so even if we are at 99%, we are still going hard, really trying to get that 1% to choose a healthy path, giving them the facts that they need so that they can make the healthy choices that they want to. But yeah, I think you said all of that super well. At the end of it, it's all about empowerment too. With prevention, you have to be the one that empowers other people to believe that they can do it. If they don't believe in themselves, at the end of the day, they might fail themselves in multiple different ways. But in this version, like choosing to use substances, But yeah, I feel like I'm just kind of rambling. But Taylor said everything super well, so please listen to her parts over mine. Um, Taylor, do you have any kind of like final thoughts on why prevention is important, or kind of like a tagline that people can leave
Yeah.
this episode with?
Yeah, I would like to say that I think a really big thing with prevention is just like it builds resiliency. It really allows, especially youth, to feel like that they can be successful, knowing that there's those resources out there, support, the education, and just the toolkit there to help them be successful. So I do think that it is important for many reasons, but especially just to give people hope and to show that there is people out there who care and do support them no matter what, and that there are resources there to help whenever somebody is ready for that.
Yeah, yes. I need to give you the mic more often, Taylor. You say things so well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So to end on that note, if you ever have any questions about any of the topics that we talk about on these podcasts, feel free to email us at moprevention@pfh.org. If you have any specific questions for Taylor, her email is taylor.raymond@pfh.org. And I know she would be happy to help you. So especially if you're in her service area and you're listening, feel free to reach out to her. If you don't know if you're in her service area, you can go to our website and it's pfh.org/prevention. And if you go to locations and scroll down, you'll see the service areas and who serves what service area. So yeah, just reach out to us if you have any questions whatsoever. We love talking about prevention to everyone in the community and just making a difference in any way that we can. So thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you, Taylor, for all of your knowledge and just being willing to share all this with our listeners. I appreciate it a lot, and I know that they appreciate it a lot too. So thank you for taking your time today to do this with me.
Thank you.
Yes, and listeners, be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more podcasts coming up, and if you haven't listened to some of our podcasts, go ahead and go back to listen, or go ahead and go back and listen to them. We hope you have a really great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into our podcast. Remember to follow us on social media at PFH Prevention. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Spotify, and more podcasting platforms. And make sure to email us at moprevention@pfh.org with any questions, and feel free to call us at 660-627-7404. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.